Right now live here at 11 o'clock, it is icy cold out there across Kentuckiana. We are zeroing in on the zero mark in so many places. And first here tonight, it is so cold, folks, that JCPS is going to keep those school buildings closed tomorrow. There is going to be class, though. It's not a day off. It's an NTI day of instruction, as the kids will be working from home and doing all of their homework. Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us right here on the Night Team. I'm Doug Prophet. This is dangerous cold weather, and Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine says it's going to get even colder overnight, Ben?
It's pretty brutal right now. It is a painful cold right when you head out, Doug. So just stay inside, enjoy the warmth indoors. This is the coldest that we've been in exactly 1 year. January 21st, 2024, got down to 5 degrees. That's where we are right now. So temperatures will continue to drop off a bit overnight. We're already down to 2 below zero in Brandenburg, 1 below in Lebanon, hovering around that zero mark. You factor in just a little bit of a breeze and more of those sub-zero wind chills across the area. It doesn't make you feel much better, but it is a little bit worse to the north. You can see down to minus 13 in Indianapolis, minus 15 up around Chicago. So those wind chills around 5 to 10 below zero out the door tomorrow morning. Really got to bundle up if you're going to be out there. And then just a little less cold with wind chills in the teens tomorrow afternoon. I'll show you when we're going to climb out of this deep freeze coming up.
Ben, thank you. Right now, our top story, they are not coming back. All new tonight. For the first time, the Givaudan company confirming it won't be rebuilding on the explosion site in Clifton that killed 2 workers and upended an entire neighborhood. And only on the WHAS11 Night Team, the Metro Council member who represents Clifton is revealing to us what he wants to see built on that land. WHAS11 Night Team's Alex Dieterer and photojournalist Levi Hammer have both angles to this developing story.
A plant that has been sitting on Payne Street in the Clifton neighborhood since the 1940s is now nothing but rubble, loose wires, bent metal, and signs that point to nowhere.
The fear of the explosion has passed, but the memory's still there.
2 months after the Givaudan plant exploded and killed 2 workers, neighbors are getting their wish.
Yeah, I think it'll be beneficial for everybody.
The plant's owners are leaving. They will not rebuild on Payne Street.
Surprised that they hadn't already been moved out.
Excellent. That they are not coming back to this property to build rebuild their factory.
The announcement was made by the company. The same day, Metro Councilman Andrew Owen, who represents the Clifton neighborhood, told us what he now wants on the 3-acre lot: affordable housing.
If it were up to me, we could do some kind of a housing development that had mixed incomes, and I think that would be great for the neighborhood and great for the city.
Owen stood next to Givaudan President Ann Leonard when she met with neighbors face-to-face back in November. She hinted at the plant's move.
We are looking at and prioritizing other locations to continue our operations going forward.
But nothing was confirmed until now.
I'm not surprised, but I'm very pleased.
2 months later, after people who live near the plant petitioned the company to build elsewhere, neighbors are now breathing a sigh of relief.
We are 800 feet from the epicenter of the explosion.
Clifton Community Council President Mike O'Leary is happy the plant is out of his backyard, but doesn't want it to go too far.
I would like very much for it to stay in Louisville Metro. I would hope that they will do it in an area that is not anywhere close to residential homes. For those people who are home asleep in their residential zoned neighborhood, they should not become victims of an industrial explosion.
We saw several investigators still on the site, showing it's going to be months to come before it's all over for good. In the Clifton neighborhood, Alex Dieterer, the WHAS11 Night Team, on your side.
Although they did not give specifics for their plans in Louisville, about a month after the explosion, the company says it does plan to open a $130 million facility in Ohio. They announced this in December. When we asked at the time if this would replace the Louisville plant, they did not confirm. It's expected to create hundreds of jobs just outside of Cincinnati. If you were impacted by the Givaudan explosion, some important insurance updates for you. The company today also saying Crawford Insurance Company has assessed most of the damaged homes in the neighborhood. They anticipate to begin processing checks in February. Some homeowners have chosen instead to have their own insurance companies do the assessments, and they said that the deductible costs for validated repairs will be reimbursed by Jividan. Again, that information coming from the plant. Now, also new since 6 on the WHAS11 night team tonight. After 894 days of being held in captivity by the Taliban in Afghanistan, this American captive, Ryan Corbett, whose father lives here in Louisville, has finally been released. It's a story we first brought you almost a year ago. At WHAS11 night team's Jose Alonso learned tonight what it took to get him back home. He is here now with the story. And Jose, have you learned, will he be coming to Louisville at all?
Yeah, Doug, he's not actually on his way to Louisville, but the family is gearing up to head to Houston to greet him there for that arrival. But they also released a long statement this morning thanking everyone who's helped shine a light on Ryan's situation. He lived in Afghanistan with his family, but once the United States withdrew from the country, they moved back. Ryan would still travel to conduct business until officials say he was wrongfully detained in August 2022. This is the most recent picture being shared of Ryan Corbett. His dad lives in Louisville. The photo showing him boarding a plane and making his way back to the United States from Afghanistan.
His dad, Drew, lives in Louisville. His family has been so amazing and gracious and patient.
Congressman Morgan McGarvey of Louisville is one of many officials who's been shining a light on Ryan's captivity, held by the Taliban in Afghanistan for 894 days.
Worked with the State Department, worked with other members of Congress, worked with the family. The fact he is coming now is just, it's an amazing feeling.
Last year, he stood alongside Ryan's father, Drew Corbett, who detailed how his son was wrongfully detained on a business trip.
They let him out once a month to see the son. He's lost a lot of weight in the last picture that we got of him.
I reached out to Drew after officials confirmed his son was one of 2 Americans involved in a prisoner swap. He and his family say they're too overwhelmed to speak publicly, but Drew shared a personal statement saying, quote, "This long nightmare has taught me the importance of unifying to get things done. We are fellow Kentuckians. Let's set aside petty differences and pursue our goals, helping lift one another's burdens." I asked the congressman if Donald Trump's election had any impact on this release.
Ryan has been gone from his family for almost 900 days. So the fact a deal was able to be secured, I think, shows the commitment of the State Department, of the administration, of the family, of lawmakers, just to never give up.
The Corbett family saying they feel the same way through a long statement. They thanked both administrations and everyone involved, in part saying, quote, "The countless hours of negotiations, unwavering support, and determination demonstrated by all involved have not gone unnoticed." But as what's next for Ryan once he lands?
He will make his way back to the United States, first going to one of our military bases where he's, clearly going to be checked out for any medical problems, get the care he needs.
And as the Corbett family anticipates their long-awaited unification with Ryan, they remain mindful in hoping other Americans who are still under Taliban custody will eventually come home as well. Reporting in studio, Jose Alonso, WHAS11 Night Team, on your side.
They've allowed both of them, Canada very much so. They've allowed millions and millions of people to come into our country that shouldn't be here. They could have stopped them, and they didn't.
President Donald Trump today doubling down on his aggressive deportation plans. He says the deportations were happening fast and that new tariffs on Canada and Mexico could even speed up the process. The president telling reporters he'd like to implement those tariffs, by the way, on February 1st. That's about a week and a half from right now. And now, reaction to the possibility of mass deportations here in Louisville. Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg says his office is not aware of any executive orders issued yesterday by the president that'll change his approach to the way that they are running this city on a day-to-day basis. A Metro Police spokesperson also confirming to us that they'll keep following the 2017 city immigration policy adopted during Donald Trump's first term. It said that LMPD would only help ICE officers if there's a criminal warrant when a crime has occurred or in an emergency when there's a clear public danger. Today we talked to Dr. Mohammed Babar, a local physician who immigrated here from Pakistan and has lived in Louisville for 20 years.
We need to have policies in a gradual way rather than we create chaos. So I hope that our city council adheres to our resolution and LMPD does not become a tool of some frantic policies.
Through executive order, Donald Trump has declared a national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border as part of his promise for mass deportations, starting with violent criminals. It's possible the Trump administration could focus on some of the bigger border towns and those big sanctuary cities first, and not Metro Louisville. Well, where's your mail? It's a question you have been asking us since before the winter storm. We've heard you loud and clear, and now a New Albany woman even tells us that USPS has been struggling to deliver her medication that's been at the Louisville Distribution Center since early January. She isn't alone. We've had several people reach out to WHAS11 News about the same issue. Betty Piazza says she can typically count on her medication being delivered within 5 to 7 business days, but she has not received her refills in weeks. She showed us one package that routed through Indianapolis down to Louisville around January 11th, and then nothing.
Moves and moves, arrives, Indianapolis, blah, 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 and it just keeps going, and then it gets to the Louisville Distribution Center on the 11th.
In a statement, we contacted USPS about the local problems. They said, quote, the Louisville Processing and Distribution Center is processing all mail and packages as quickly as possible, end quote. After more than a week, by the way, we did get some big news. Piazza did tell us today that her medication was finally delivered, and it happened today. Happening in Meade County, the community is coming together to help a family tonight who lost a 12-year-old over the weekend. Kentucky State Police say the fatal crash happened in Brandenburg when the driver turned into the path of a garbage truck. The driver in that car turned out to be a father and a son. 12-year-old Trey Owen died at the hospital. And now family and friends have organized a fundraiser selling wristbands in his honor to help cover expenses. WHAS11 19 photojournalist Emma Gefter is in Meade County tonight showing us the overwhelming support.
I always feel so guilty crying because it's not my baby. But we have known Trey's family for 10, 12 years maybe. You know, you hear of tragic accidents or you see it on the news, but when it is this close to home, it definitely hits different. The fundraisers that we are doing for their family, I can't help the way she feels, but I can maybe help in another way. Yeah. Cash for this.
Yeah,
is that what it was?
Just keep it.
Okay.
I think there's 30 there. So.
Perfect. He's young, and kids love those little bracelets, so I thought, okay, I can get them in bulk and sell them and give her the profit from that.
I love the bracelets, though.
I didn't know what to put on them. You don't ever know, but
I love it.
But as a mom, I want to help, and that's kind of, you know, my personality.
They're all like so thankful, and she said she's gonna, you know, try to come down here and give everybody a big hug. Even though we all just want to hug her, she's thankful and wants to give everybody our, you know, the love in return.
My son really looked up to him on the soccer field. My son thought the world of him on the soccer field. In class, he was hilarious. He was funny. Not too long ago, he got his perm fixed, and I was giving him a hard time about his perm because my son had a perm as well. And I said something to him that was kind of funny, and he looked at me and he said, "It looks like your hair's been around since World War II." So he was a really good kid that joked around all the time. Yeah.
He's the baby, a true baby. And I felt like that's how Trey was.
And from Brandenburg there tonight, our night team photojournalist Emma Gefter's work for you. Trey's father was driving the car that crashed. He was in the hospital, but he is now back at home recovering.